You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
Earlier this week, I certainly talked about it on my show. I don't know if Matt mentioned it on AFR, but EA Sports is coming out with that new college football video game, and they rank the top 10 most difficult environments to play in, and they're going to play that up big time on the video game, and if it's going to be difficult to call plays and audible, and freshmen are going to freak out. And they ranked Kyle Field number 1, Bryant-Denny number 2, and Tiger Stadium number 3, and a lot of people in Baton Rouge were all up in arms, and I kind of talked about it, and it's a video game. Who really cares? But Bruce Feldman decided, hey, EA Sports is doing this. I'll do it too. And Bruce Feldman has actually been in the real-life venues, not the video game venues, trying to press the X button appropriately to get a play called. And I thought that his take on it was interesting. So we'll start at 10, where he has Kyle Field with Texas A&M. And I have been in Kyle Field. I wouldn't suggest it was the greatest environment Kyle Field has ever displayed. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't quite know who Johnny Manziel was in 2012. But I was impressed with the size, with the choreographed swaying, the stadium shakes. And I talked about this on my show earlier this week. Like, there is no denying the hunger of the A&M fan base. You can say the yell leaders are weird. I would. You can say yell practice is kind of corny and is not great for the internet. I would. You can say that the sidelines smell like cow poop because there's horses that are pooping on the sidelines, and that would be accurate as well. But it is a great venue for college football. I'm here to give SEC rivals their due when I believe it's appropriate. Kyle Field's an incredible environment for college football. They haven't had the results to back it up, and that's why Bruce Feldman puts them down at 10. He says, while A&M has been, when A&M has been really good, the Aggies have still struggled at home more than they should, and that's why he put them down at number 10. I thought it's a pretty good place to play. He's got Georgia at number 9. I've had mixed reviews at Sanford Stadium. I think as of right now, as good as they are, that place has got to be absolutely a nightmare to play in. It was really loud in 2013. I did not think it was really loud in 2009 when LSU went. But I can see a top 10 environment in the country at Sanford Stadium for Georgia. I've never been to Oregon. That's who he's got at number 8. I do think it's probably great. Apparently, it's been built acoustically so that all the sound kind of bakes in there. It's not big, but I think it's probably a really good place to play. I don't know that I'll ever set foot at an Autzen Stadium. Maybe LSU plays there in a playoff game one day. Now that's a possibility. But I think it sounds reasonable. Everybody that's been there thinks it's really, really good, and now they've got a whole new crop of Big Ten teams going up there. He's got Tennessee at number 7. That's where Neyland Stadium ranks. Neyland Stadium's big. It is really, really big. They got some disrespect in the CA poll that I don't really care about, but I thought that Neyland was fantastic in 2006. In 2011, they didn't have a chance. LSU ran the ball right down their throats. In fact, one time, LSU took the ball at the 2-yard line and went 98 yards without throwing a pass. They didn't have a chance to get loud in that one. And then LSU went there a few years ago in that ridiculous rainstorm. So I don't think a lot of LSU fans have great perspective on what Neyland could be. It was great in 2006, and I think now that they really feel like Josh Heupel's got it cooking a little bit, I could see that being a really good place to play. Not a great place to sit, way too small on the seats. I was like 40 pounds lighter when I was a freshman in college when I went the first time, and I still could barely fit in the seats. So that's a tough scene there in Neyland for the heavy folks, but it's loud. He's got the Swamp at 6, and I talked about this on my show earlier this week. Like, I've seen the Swamp awesome, and I've seen it bad. And you would expect that at home because you got Kent State and whoever the heck coming in here and nobody cares. But, like, I've seen Tebow in there when it is an absolute hornet's nest. And I've seen the Muschamp years, and nobody gave a rip. And so that's where I kind of struggle a little bit. I think Florida's got a lot of sidewalk fans because it's a transient state. A lot of people move down there with no ties to Florida. But, hey, if they're good, I might show up and buy some tickets to the game. Where, like, the other states, like in Alabama or Louisiana, like Texas, like you're here, you're from here. This is a lifelong thing. So I don't know that I would put it in the top 6, but I understand when it's really good, it is really, really good. Feldman continues on with Virginia Tech at number 5. He put some clips in the article on The Athletic from YouTube with the entrance to Enter Sandman. I think that's probably awesome. The entrance, do they sustain that for 4 quarters? Are they really good? Like I don't know. I don't know that Lane Stadium I hadn't been. I shouldn't be speaking with. I can't be definitive about this, and I can't plant my flag in the ground. But I have my questions if Lane Stadium is more intimidating than the Swamp or Neyland or Kyle Field. I don't think Lane Stadium is better than Kyle Field, and it's number 5 here. And what Feldman does is he puts an asterisk, says, I'm thinking about what this place has been in the past, not what it's been in recent years, and I get it. The results recently indicate otherwise. I don't know that I'm going to hold a couple bad years against him. Everybody's had a couple of bad years, and I don't think everybody thought that Tiger Stadium was an easy place in theory to play, even when LSU was bad in the 90s. It still had a mystique around it. Saturday night in Death Valley, we just weren't very good. And Virginia Tech's not very good right now, but it's not that big. The entrance is probably awesome. Is it great for 4 quarters with the rest of these? I would kind of have my doubts. This is when we get to the heavy hitters in the top here. Ohio State is number 4. I've never been to the Shoe. I want to go to the Shoe. Unfortunately, I feel like if I ever do go to the Shoe, LSU is going to be there in December, and that sounds really not fun. But I think that it's probably fantastic. I love the dot the I. I think they travel incredibly well. Obviously, I was at the 07 into 08 national championship game. They traveled great, and the dotting the I thing was really cool with the band. I'm sure that the Shoe is awesome, and he says as much here, ranking them number 4. I'll tell you who gets a lot of respect in these. They did in the video game, and they did for Bruce Feldman here, and I believe it based on what I've seen on TV. Penn State. That's a lot of people. They're the best at this coordinated color thing. LSU tried this a couple of times. Did a gold. They try a gold game every year. That never works. Tried a white game. Tried a white hat game one year for less. That didn't work. LSU can't color coordinate squat. What Paul's got up on the screen right now, that's coordinated. There's nobody in a Navy shirt in that whole place. And it's big and it's loud, and I think they're hungry as well to try to climb that mountain like Georgia has in the past, like Michigan has in the recent past. There are some teams that have gotten over that hump with a football national championship that I think can do it, and I would put some of these teams like Tennessee, like Penn State in that next group of teams in the last 20 years that haven't gotten it done that I think could, and I think part of it is because Penn State's got an awesome home field environment. He's got them at number 3. I've never been, but it looks good. Now, this is one that a lot of people push back on. EA Sports did not. Bruce Feldman did not at number 2, and this will tell you what number 1 is. But number 2, he's got Bryant-Denny. That tells you what number 1 is, and we'll get to it. But a lot of people say, oh, it's a wine and cheese crowd. Oh, they're entitled. Oh, it's not that intimidating. It's not that loud. Let me just tell you. I was there in 2007. It was loud. I was there in 2009. It was loud. I was there in 2011, and I can't think personally of a pregame atmosphere that felt like that. It was incredible. I was there in 13. It was loud. And I was there in 15 when LSU went there high and mighty with Leonard Fournette, and it was really loud. I think it's a great environment. I don't like any of the people in there in red. I just don't. I think potentially might have gotten into a yelling match after the Patrick Peterson no call. I was not in a great mood, but I think it's really good, and I think the people who try to shout it down consistently, yeah, they've been awesome. Yeah, they've been the top of the food chain for 15 years, and they win all the time in there, and that makes it a lot easier to have a great environment. I get all that, but I consider Bryant-Denny a really, really tough place to play. It's not just because the team's really good. I think it's big. I think it's loud. I think it's passionate. I mean, when they play on the replay, they get a big hit, they all go boom, and I think it's a cool thing that they do. I think it may have one of the best entrances in college football that a lot of people don't know about. They close the locker room doors so that nobody can see into the tunnel, and they put a camera that goes right down the tunnel of the hallway, and the entire Alabama team turns the corner at once, and now it's Kalen DeBoer, but it was Saban, was at the front, and then usually the 3 best players are right there, and they put that camera right down the empty hallway, and the second they turn the corner, that place comes unglued. I hope they lose every game for the rest of time. It's a really good place to watch a football game. And oh, by the way, Bruce Feldman says the number 1 place in college football to watch a football game, Tiger Stadium, LSU. The lead into his piece here is this place is just pure mayhem, and it starts way before kickoff. I've heard from so many coaches over the years about how hostile the treatment of their teams is, from rattling their bus on arrival to just dousing the visitors with booze. Just seeing Mike the Tiger in person adds another layer of intimidation to this. And a lot of us a lot of you that are listening, myself personally, certainly, doing pre and post game for the last few years and being a student, like, we've been in there for a lot of LSU Rice games that went 48-6. We've been in there for a lot of Mississippi State games that weren't full, especially recently. So I've seen it when it's not awesome. But most of these people, Scott Van Pelt, Chris Fowler, Bruce Feldman, whoever the case may be, they're here for the Bama game. They're here to watch Senior Day for the Heisman Trophy winner. They're here when it's great. And that's one of the things that Scott Van Pelt says all the time, like, how good is your good? LSU's good is really, really good. Now, as I mentioned, I've seen a lot of the SEC teams at their best. I thought Tennessee was fantastic in 06. I thought the Swamp in 06 and 08 was incredible. Tuscaloosa in 2011. I saw Cam Newton play in Jordan-Hare. I was in Oxford for a couple of big ones for them. Like, Sanford was really loud for the 13 game. Like, I've been in the stadiums, and I can't sit here and tell you, Tiger Stadium blows them out of the water. I just know it's really, really good. And it's cool for me personally, and I think probably for you, to share that pride when someone who's not in our purple and gold bubble, who's not submersed in this and has a bias, that can look from the outside and go, that's the best. You should really go see that. It's very cool. And it's why, even if LSU can't quite compete in NIL with Texas and Texas A&M, if they can't quite compete in NIL with what Georgia's doing, if Miami's got a more aggressive booster, or Southern Cal's doing what they're doing, even though LSU doesn't have the deepest pockets in college football, you've still got this state that has folks that want to play, and there's still this allure. And yes, money is important to some of these high school kids, and they're going to look at that in their recruiting process. But I went through a few weeks ago a survey from the top 50 players in the country, those that decided to participate, and a lot of them, more than half, said that the money they got from NIL was not the most important thing. And when you continue to hear things like this from national media, you realize that LSU is going to be okay. We might not win every recruiting battle, but some of this stuff really matters. And for the national media to feel that way is a cool thing. And I can't wait to get inside Tiger Stadium this year and see it in person once again. That's Bruce Feldman's look at the top 10 environments in college football. If you want to check out the piece, you can certainly do so on The Athletic.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.